A KPMG South African accountant intern made headlines this past week after she sent a mass email to the firm's global staff predicting an imminent religious rapture between the 23rd and the 24th of September. In her email, she encouraged her colleagues to be prayed up as God would be coming to take all faithful believers from earth. Well, she was not the only one, as another social media famous pastor shared the same sentiment across the internet, with many people suspected to have been influenced to believe the notion. Now, the question is, how far is too far, and when does it become an isolated belief system, and when is it religious psychosis? To unpack this, UNISA Black Theology lecturer Dr. Lerato Kobe joins us now and weighs in. It was a story that captured and got a lot of social media attention, but again, that question has to be answered. When do we start to blur the lines between someone's religious belief and, of course, that extreme sense of perhaps religious psychosis?
Good morning, Veronica. Thank you so much for inviting me today. Well, this is quite a very difficult question, because I don't think we can. There's no way to regulate such, because there are many things that we do within religion that, for others who are not in that religion, don't make sense. And I mean, of course, this thing of rapture, it's something that took place, like became popular within the context of America. And I don't know if you remember the movie by Nicolas Cage, The Left Behind. So I don't know if we can regulate, actually, because there are so many things that we do in church. I mean, in South Africa recently, where people who were sprayed with doom, trying to, I don't know what was the purpose for dooming them, to cleanse them or something. But I don't know if we can really regulate the belief system of people. But maybe the way we teach, we can change the way we teach people, and then maybe there could be some changes there.
Yeah, there was a point where there was a lot of social media reaction. Some people found it to be, quite a, entertaining conversation to have in terms of the rapture. There was a lot of memes that were taking place, but there were some people that took it quite seriously. Apart from the intern, we had a pastor. This is a religious figure as well, sharing, very similar sentiments. And it shows us as well that there was quite a lot of people who took that situation quite seriously.
Yes, of course, people will take it serious. I was still very young at the time. If you remember the year 2000, it was the end of the world, and there were actually religious pastors who were supporting this. And so, of course, you are bound to have religious people who will support such. And also, that's why I'm saying that maybe we can change the way we teach within the church, even our theology, because these things, there's an idea. Because for me, when I saw those things, I saw even in Kenya, people were like in some kind of a forest waiting for this rapture. And I asked myself, how do you know you will be taken even? It makes no sense to assume how righteous you are, that you will be part of this people who are taken to heaven. And also in the Bible, when there's no rapture in the Bible, they don't talk about the rapture, but they do talk about when Christ comes again. And the dead will be resurrected. Like, so many things would happen. So for me, I'll just say it's just the social media, I don't know, a trend or something, but I don't think, I know there are people who took it serious, as many people take people serious, churches that don't make sense. People take them serious. And also we can connect some of these things in the fact that people just want maybe to live this earth because they are tired of suffering, of the poverty, of the injustice. So everything is connected to socioeconomic injustices and all these things, and why people would believe such. Let me make an example with the song called Jerusalem. That song became popular, but I know in the mainline churches, that song was very much critiqued, and it's still critiqued even now, because it draws people into this heaven where the streets are gold and everything and all of this. And some theologians, even church people, say that this is an excuse for people to think that there will be some kind of a better place somewhere else than this earth, instead of working towards changing things here. So people will believe it because, as I say, of socioeconomic issues, of suffering, or what, they just want to live there.
Yeah, and we know that, of course, South Africa enjoys, within our constitution, that ability for, many of its residents to express themselves through different religions. But we spoke a little bit about social media, and there is a little bit of a danger to that when it comes to spreading what kind of sort of information you'd want to. And one of the particular instances we saw with this email was, it was sent out on a professional kind of media or email link, to the point where it got to social media. How do we differentiate when a person can impose their personal views and then coming out to a professional or public space to, of course, exaggerate or amplify those views, if you will?
Again, I will say this is a hard one. I mean, as you say, in South Africa, we have this thing of freedom of speech, and we all love it, but it goes with social media. It has gone too far, but also it has helped us in other situations where things are said to have happened, then we find out later on they have not. So I mean, I really don't know, because I think maybe an ethicist will have something more to say, but it's very hard to regulate a religion. The only way you can regulate religion, for me, I felt like what has happened on social media, how that thing took off without people not questioning it. It's the way we teach theology. It's the way we teach theology at church. It's the way we teach about Christ at church. It's the way we do the teaching. Something is wrong with the teaching in South Africa. And my response to this will be more on a theological perspective and also from a church perspective. The way we teach people, it makes them believe these things, because we present Jesus as this superhero, this magician, this person who's going to reward us. That's why I'm saying, to think that we are all even going to be part of those people who will be taken, for me, it doesn't make sense. That to assume that you are so righteous that God will take you and not the others. So it's hard to regulate. Really, we can, if we will say that we can regulate it, we'll have to regulate the churches themselves, because it begins with the churches. What pastors do in the church, they can make people eat grass and do all these things. So people are just following what the church is doing. That accountant belongs to a church. I read that, and she says that she wanted to make people aware and know that World War III is coming and all this. You see, there is, yes, you can say the kind of you can't just say it's kind of madness, but it is related to what is happening currently in the world. In their own personal worldview, maybe they're trying to make sense of it, and they also believe that they believed that the rapture will come. But I don't know how we can regulate it, but because also there are so many things that don't make sense in the world that are happening.
Yeah, and I guess the question then would be, how do we then alert some people who are not aware? How do we teach people to be more discerning when it comes to messages like this, specifically around religion, something that is so personal for many people?
I think so. I believe that's where it is. It has, that's why I'm saying the person who sent that email has learned that from the church, because the church is good in doing those things. And also the theologians are not offering a theology that can make people to start think critically. And I mean, as a Black theologian, of course, this is where we are coming from, that the way Christianity was introduced to us, especially as Africans, has made us to not question, because, oh, how can you question God? This person is saying that God spoke to them. So how do we question them? We don't question the pastor. We don't question the theologian. So therefore, people are bound to also do the same thing that they are being taught. How do you regulate that? Yes, it's personal, but they believe it. The question, so it's really, for me, is about discernment. I had a conversation about this with my sister, and my sister said, no, there is a rapture, you know, and she tried to argue for these people. And she said, but for me, as a Christian, what doesn't make sense is that I think that I am so righteous that I'm going to be picked, then I'm going to go and even wait somewhere else and do so many things that people believed they will happen, and they have not happened. And that's what my sister's reaction was to it as a Christian herself.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dr. Lerato. I'm grateful that the rapture didn't happen. Otherwise, we would have not been able to have this conversation. That was UNISA Black Theology lecturer, Dr. Lerato Kobe, speaking.